أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. ثم أما بعد. This will be the last session in this chapter, the defects of the tongue. We're talking about the last 2 or 3, and then inshallah starting next week we will be speaking about anger and envy, a very powerful and serious disease of the heart. So today we'll be speaking about the defect number 18. Imam Ghazali talked about 20 of them, so this is the 18th one, which is al-madh, or praising. Last week we talked about al-ghiba and namima, backbiting and reporting or gossip talks. So today we'll be speaking about first about al-madh and how sometimes people exaggerate in praising others, or people who praise themselves. Those who praise, they may misuse their tongue and exaggerate, and those who have been praised also could be misguided or misled by this overpraising. But is it ethical, moral, acceptable to really say good things about a good person? You know someone who's good, and you go and say, "Thank you very much, your presentation was amazing." Isn't this good? Does Islam say no to this kind of praising? That's praising, right? How can we reconcile these two concepts? What is the limit between the acceptable praising and non-acceptable praising? Imam Ghazali talked about 4 harms that comes to the one who makes the praise. In the old days, the caliph or the sultan or the king always surrounds himself with poets. People who come and compete actually with each other, who is going to make the best poetry praising the king. And the one who makes the first place, then he gets more money, and so on. This is the kind of praising that Rasulullah ﷺ prohibited. It becomes business. And of course these political authorities, they use these poets to praise them, and of course this will go out and people memorize this poetry, like the poetry of Abu Tayyib and Mutanabbi, for example, Sayf al-Dawla and al-Akhshid and others. Up until now, those who study Arabic and grammar and poetry, they have to study the poetry of Abu Tayyib and Mutanabbi, for example. So the one who makes the praise, sometimes they lie, they exaggerate so much, they say so many big things about the people who have been these kings. And this exaggeration, of course, is not acceptable because it's almost a lie. It is a lie. When you say he's al-bahr, it is like the bahr. Al-bahr means so generous, because the bahr, the sea, gives so much. فغرته المعروف والجود ساحل لو لم يكن في نفسه غير كفه لجاد بها فليتق الله سائله. Too much. So he says so generous, like the ocean, right? And if he has nothing except his own soul in his palm, and someone come and ask him, he will give it to him. Come on, give me a break. The way they build this poetry is beautiful. It is beautiful poetry, right? But the meaning is of course is not true. It's way too much, And this is the difference between praising anyone and praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When it comes to praising Allah, we have to admit that we cannot praise Him. Our words, our expression cannot praise Him enough. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. But when we praise people, we always exaggerate. So when we want to praise someone, when you know someone as a righteous person, okay, as a sincere person, we cannot be different and say, this man is so righteous, or has taqwa, or muttaqeen. Say, I think, أحسبه كذلك. Say, I think, inshallah, he's one of the muttaqeen. I think he's one of the righteous people. أحسبه كذلك. I think he is like this. But when you say he is one of the muttaqin, how do you know? Right? How do you know? So Rasulullah ﷺ said that if you have to praise your brother, then say, أحسب فلانا ولا أزكي على الله. ولا أزكي على الله. I don't make a statement on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you say this one is one of the awliya of Allah. How do you know? I think is one of the awliya of Allah. Right? Of course, sometimes when people praise someone, they may go and praise someone who is a fasiq, right? These people in power, poets go and writers and journalists, they write, they support every corrupt president. He also surrounds himself with journalists and people who write good things about him, right? Right? Just to keep his base happy. Okay, so when we praise someone who is fasiq or zalim or transgressor, then we are actually participating in this dhulm by supporting one of the zalimeen. وَلَا تَرْكَنُوا لِلَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, don't incline to the wrongdoers, don't befriend them, don't support them, otherwise you'll be one of them. وَلَا تَرْكَنُوا إِلَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا. It was narrated that Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, when he was in prison, this great Imam, been tortured very badly. And one of the guards, he came to him and said, Wallahi, I'm sorry, I don't want this to happen to you, but what can I do? It's my job. So am I one of those who incline to the zalimeen? And he said, of course you are. Even if you have good intention, but you are working for them, so you're one of them. And the one who's praised, of course, when people exaggerate in praising someone, two harms may happen to him. One is arrogance, of course. People talk very well about him all the time, so he will develop this sense of arrogance that maybe he thinks he's genius, right? Super smart, and give himself all these titles. You can see that, right? Or the second problem, it also could be that he may think that he's good enough. There's no room for perfection, right? So this causes futur. If people praise someone, his ibadah, his akhlaq and things, then he'll think, khalas, there's no need to do any more because I'm super good, right? So these are the two concerns. But if we think that neither the praiser or the praised would be affected negatively in any ways, then praising people is good, and actually, in fact, it is recommended. When you see, tell your teacher or co-worker or someone who works for you, send them an email. Thank you very much for your help. I couldn't have done it without you. You are so your experience helped me significantly, and so on. That's nice. So it's nice to appreciate what people are doing, even if they're doing little thing, without exaggeration and without lying, right? And if you think that this person will not be affected negatively by this praise, then it's okay. Rasulullah ﷺ praised his companions. All the fada'il al-Sahaba. If you read any book of hadith, Bukhari and Muslim and Tirmidhi, you have one part or chapter called Fada'il al-Sahaba. What the Prophet ﷺ said about Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali and Abu Ubaidah ibn Jarrah, Zuhra ibn al-Awwam and Sa'ad ibn Waqqas. every one of them, Rasulullah said very good things about him. Right? We all know what he said about Abu Bakr. Right? If the iman of the ummah is weighed against the iman of Abu Bakr, the iman of Abu Bakr will be heavier or stronger. So, but Rasulullah knows Abu Bakr will not get arrogant, and he's not going to stop doing. He knows Abu Bakr. So these words or praising is not going to negatively affect him. The word iman here, by the way, does not mean faith or belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because you may have people have the same iman of Abu Bakr. But the ulama said that iman here refers to the a'mal. So the amal is part of our iman. وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُضِيعَ إِيمَانَكُمْ. Your prayer, your salah. He called salah when Muslims were facing Jerusalem and then turned to Mecca. And the Jews said that the prayer they did towards Masjid al-Aqsa is invalid. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُضِيعَ إِيمَانَكُمْ. Allah would never cause your prayer to be invalid or consider your prayer invalid. Because we know the hadith that if you do some good deeds, then you will be rewarded as long as people benefit from it, right? So if you guide someone to Islam and someone comes to Islam through you, then inshallah every good deed he will do, then you'll get part of this reward, right? Because Abu Bakr was the first man to answer the call. Not only that, but he sacrificed everything. All his wealth, experience, and he risked his own life, hijrah, and so on. His entire family was helping the Prophet. So because of his contribution early on in Islam was so significant, his favor upon this ummah still up to date, Abu Bakr benefits from our a'mal. So that's why Rasulullah ﷺ said the iman of Abu Bakr is greater than the iman of everybody else. And he talked also about Umar radiallahu anhu. You all know the hadith that the shaitan, when shaitan sees Umar, he runs away from him. Right? And if there was to be a prophet after me, it would have been Umar. And again, Rasulullah ﷺ knows that this is not going to cause Umar to be arrogant and so on. There is a very famous hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ said, "أُحْثُ التُّرَابَ فِي وَجْهِ الْمَدَّحِينَ." And maddahin, those whose job is to praise people, that throw the dirt in their face. And the Prophet ﷺ is talking about the people that were mentioned earlier, those who take this as a profession, praising people, and some hypocrites do this just to get closer from the powerful people. And Rasulullah ﷺ also, when he talked about himself, that's also another important point, that we should not praise ourselves, but we should talk about the facts. Sometimes it is important to set the record straight, as they say. Right? So if someone questioned your credibility as a good physician or a good engineer, and someone who's qualified, then you have to say, no, I did this and I did that. If you are interviewed, then you have to talk about yourself, right? That's nothing wrong with that. You are not praising yourself. That's not the negative praising, but you are talking about the fact, because you are applying for a job, right? Rasulullah ﷺ also said, "Ana Sayyid waladi Adam, wala fakhr." I am the Sayyid means the master or the best of the children of Adam. No fakhr. I'm not saying this out of arrogance. But it's a fact. It has to be mentioned. Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, this beautiful dua that we actually should always say when someone praises you, and you know that, yes, you deserve, everybody has some good things that deserve some praise, but when people overpraise you and you know yourself, I'm not, that good as people may think of me, it's a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that people see the good things and they don't see the bad things. This is how it works. It's a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when people talked about Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, praised them, he made this beautiful dua. He said, Allahumma اغفر لي ما لا يعلمون. Forgive all the sins that they don't know about. وَاجْعَلْنِي خَيْرًا مِمَّا ظُنُّونَ. And make me better than what they think. وَلَا تُؤَاخِذْنِي بِمَا يَقُولُونَ. Don't hold me accountable for what they say. Right? So this dua is beautiful. When you are in this position, then it is always good to remember this dua. Good people, when they are praised, they feel shy and they don't really like it. Not like those who are looking for it or hiring people to praise them in public. No matter how successful they are, when they are praised, they humble themselves down. And people like those who humble themselves, not those who are so arrogant. And another person came to Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib praising him, and Imam Ali knows that he does not like him. And he says bad things about him. But when he saw him, he said good things about him. So Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib said, أَنَا دُونَ مَا قُلْتَ وَفَوْقَ مَا فِي نَفْسِكَ. I'm less than what you said, and I'm above what you think about me within yourself. Somewhere in between. How a perfect answer. Alright, so that's all regarding al-madh. So this point clear, that we may praise people if we feel that this praise is not going to harm them, or when we do it with a good intention. Right? But if you overpraise someone, this will make him so arrogant, then it's better not to. Right? Questions here before we move on?
So,
yes.
Just one quick question. What about when somebody praises somebody and exaggerating in a language that that person does not understand? For example, you talked about the poets. I mean, a lot of poets they praise their horses, like the early poets. For example, Mikarrin, Mifarrin, about.
No, we're talking about praising people.
Just the people.
Yeah. Because we're talking about the defect of the tongue, how people misuse their tongue. This is one way of misusing the tongue, by overpraising people or praising transgressors, or lying, or receiving or welcoming this praise as a form of arrogance. So you can see the connection between the tongue and the heart, right? So some people, it is harmful for some people to praise them. It's harmful. It hurts. I mean, sometimes people will feel that we are above others and on the top of the world, and everybody look down at others. That's problematic. That's what Imam Ghazali is talking about.
What about spouses?
About?
Spouse?
Yeah, you can lie in this case. That's okay. We mentioned this before. Exaggeration here is not bad. I mean, we were just talking about from philosophical perspective, this kind of lie is not harmful. When spouses praise each other, and even if they exaggerate or lie, that's okay, because the objective is to keep the family together, right? And that's not harmful. I mean, you're not lying to attain something, or to take the right of someone, and don't take this and go and lie to your wife and say, Imam said you can lie. Where were you? I was at work. That's not the kind of lie we're talking about. We're talking about lying like you're the most beautiful woman in the world, or your food is the most delicious food in the world. That's kind of, but don't lie and do wrong things and then lie and say, oh, okay, spouses can lie to each other. I know some non-Muslims know nothing about lying in Islam except this hadith. The other day at OU, a student come and ask me, and so I've talked to non-Muslims, said, yeah, Islam allows lying. I said, how come? I said, and they quoted this hadith, that you can lie to the enemies, you can lie to your wife, and you can lie, what was the third one? To reconcile two people who don't talk to each other. So that is the only thing, the very exception about lying. This is the only thing we know about it. All right, so the number 19th and 20th, a very interesting subject. Al-ghafla an daqa'iq al-khata. Imam Ghazali said that one way that we misuse our tongue is we are making little linguistic mistakes or mischoosing words, but it affects the meaning. Okay, it may sound okay, so what's wrong with this? But if you really look closely at it, it makes a big difference. And he said only people with knowledge and wisdom and hikmah, they choose their words carefully. They navigate through the vocabularies they know and they use it correctly. So, for example, he gave some examples that, like we say, for example, if it was not Allah and you, I wouldn't have done this. Then you are making this person and Allah like equal, almost. Or a'udhu billahi wa bika. I seek protection in Allah and in you. When you need someone's help, so I need help from Allah and you. That's considered inappropriate. So the right way to say it is that I need Allah's help, then your help. I seek protection from you, from Allah, then from you. Then from you. But when we say Allah and you, it's kind of inappropriate. In the hadith, someone stood up and gave a khutbah in the presence of the Prophet ﷺ, and in the opening of his speech he said, "Man ya'si Allah," I want to see who is going to catch the mistake here. He said, "Man yuti' Allah wa rasulahu faqad rashad." He who obeys Allah and His Messenger truly guided. "Man yuti' Allah wa rasulahu faqad rashad, wa man ya'sihima faqad ghawa." And whoever disobeys them, then he is misguided. And the Prophet ﷺ told him, say, whoever disobeys Allah and His Messenger. Don't say Allah and Messenger, don't say them. Don't say them. Because then he said, you are making me equal to Allah. This is how the Prophet ﷺ was very clear about the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not to associate anybody with. Even the choice of the word, to have to be accurate. Don't say وَمَنْ يَعْصِيهِمَا. Although from a linguistic perspective, it's not wrong, right? Because there are two, there are not one thing. But even though the Prophet ﷺ said, out of respect, don't make someone and Allah one thing. Right? And I hope our Christian friends hear about this. Let's talk about Trinity. It's very problematic. So Rasulullah ﷺ said that don't say وَمَنْ يَعْصِهِمَا, but say وَمَنْ يَعْصِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. Two different things. Also, some ulama don't like that kind of dua. Sometimes people, they say, oh Allah, grant us the shafa'ah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What is the catch here? Oh Allah, grant us the shafa'ah of the Prophet. Yeah, the shafa'ah is for those who are supposed to go to the hellfire. And then the shafa'ah would, but it would actually be better not to need the shafa'ah at all, because if you need the shafa'ah, means that you are in big trouble, right? And that's why some ulama said, and there's no authentic hadith that the Prophet ﷺ made this dua or any of the Sahaba made this dua, right? The shafa'ah will go to the wrongdoers. They need shafa'ah. But if you don't need shafa'ah, this means that you are doing well. You don't need shafa'ah. Of course, this shafa'ah al-uzma, this covers everybody. Also, al-halif. People say, I swear by my father, by my father's name, or my grandfather. And Rasulullah ﷺ told people, don't do this. If you have to make an oath, make an oath by the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or you don't make an oath at all, right? Say wallahi, okay, I swear by Allah, this and that. Don't say I swear by my father or my family or my grandfather or my cat or the dog or anything. Also, the people used to say, it's my slave, right? Abdi or jariyati. Rasulullah said, don't say that. Don't say abdi. Again, linguistically, abd means slave. Abdi is my slave. This is the common language there. Rasulullah said, don't say that. Say, instead, you should say, غلامي وجاريتي فتايا وفتاتي. Okay, غلام, you know the word غلام, right? It's common. غلام means قال يا بشرى هذا غلام. You know the story of Yusuf? غلام, a boy, you know, between I think 9 and 14, 15. That's called غلام. It's not like a baby, and it's not قال يا بشرى هذا غلام. Young, I think 5 also. وهذا غلام. هذا غلامي or فتايا فتى قالوا سمعنا فتى يذكرهم. فتى is like a teenager, stronger, 16, so it's فتى. He's not a man yet, but it's فتى. So فتايا or فتاتي. Don't say abdi, because we are all slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لا يقل أحدكم, the hadith, ما شاء الله وشئت ولكن ليقل ما شاء الله ثم شئت. Again, ثم شئت. Right? Based on the will of Allah and my will. Now, you cannot make your will and the will of Allah equal. So, the will of Allah, by the will of Allah, then my will. Right? Also, the Prophet ﷺ said, don't say to the fasiq, Sayyiduna, our master. Don't say if he's fasiq, and you consider him his sayyid or master, then you are taking his side. You are approving what he's doing. Right? So Imam Ghazali used these examples to go back to the very first, point he made when he talked about the virtue of silence, and he said, if you look at these examples, there are plenty of other mistakes, like, for example, when someone asks you, do you need any help? Said, La jazakallahu khairan. You don't need help, right? But do you need help? What do you say? La jazakallahu khairan. But when you say La jazakallahu khairan, you're negating it, right? La jazakallahu khairan, right? But your intention is to say, no, thank you, jazakallahu khairan. There are two statements. All right? La, stop, and then jazakallahu khair. Or you can say la wa jazakallahu khair. When you say la wa jazakallahu khair, then it's clear. All right? So all these little things here and there. So that's why Imam Ghazali said, as the Prophet said, he who remains silent will be safe. Right? It's always good to be silent, but if you want to speak, you have to be careful what to say. The last one. The last one is to ask, or for al-awam, the people who are not scholars, to ask about a lot of details in Islamic faith and theology and about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ilm al-kalam, this ilm al-kalam that was very dominant at the time for Imam Ghazali, Aqidah, the details of Aqidah. Is al-Quran, did Allah create al-Quran, or al-Quran was as old as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It's part of Allah, or it's created by Allah? Is all these questions, he said that sometimes people make big fuss about these things and they keep asking questions. It's very inappropriate to ask questions about the details of Aqidah or fiqh. And at that time, people like to debate madhahib, debate each other, schools of thought, theology and law and so on. It's better to be busy with the ibadat, whatever little knowledge you know, work according or act upon them, apply them. You know you have to pray 5 times, then pray 5 times. You know that you must fast Ramadan, fast Ramadan. You know it's better to do the sunnah and nafil, do that nafil. It's good to read Quran, go and read Quran. Take care of your parents, be nice to your neighbor. These are the little things that everybody knows. Just do it. But to go and ask these questions about the qadr, again, people enjoy talking about this. And the more they ask, the more they get confused. Right? The predestination, free will. And how about this? And how about that? And Imam Ghazali said it's like someone, like a king, who wrote like instructions to someone, and he gave it to him, like a message. And this person went, supposed to follow the instructions, and he was busy about the ink, what kind of ink, and what kind of paper, and how old is this, how good, what kind of materials made. And he wasted all the time, and he didn't do anything. And then he comes back, like, what do you do? I've done nothing. Why? Because I was busy thinking about all these silly things. And believe me, that's not exaggeration. What Imam Ghazali talked about in the 11th century, it's still happening now. People, if you watch any of these TV stations, that's a huge business now. A very silly business. A mufti would sit and people ask, make phone calls and ask questions. And these muftis are just, everything is really this answer to every question. Right? And people ask now there are TV stations, religious or Islamic TV stations, only for interpreting dreams. It is very funny. Sometimes, when you go and listen to this, someone sitting is an expert of interpreting dreams. There are tons of them now. Tons of them. And that's why we're lagging behind. And it makes a lot of money because you have commercials and have a lot of people. Everybody sees a dream. Right? And it became like what people want. Okay, let's make a TV station and get someone who looks like Imam or Mufti and then interpret the dreams. And people ask very silly questions. Very silly questions. Yeah, just be mindful of what you need to do. Now, Allah wants from you here and now. And asking about, I got a phone call at 3 a.m. one day, and someone was asking me about the name of the wife of Zakaria alayhi salam. Someone was just, they were working a night shift, and it was like an hour before Fajr, and they assumed that I'm awake, and they are calling 3 a.m. to say, we have, what's the name of the wife of Zakaria? So how would this help you? Is the shaitan male or female? And the ant, seriously, the ant, the story of Sulaiman? The ant who said to the community of ants, go back to your nests because Sulaiman and his host may crush you. قالت نملة قالت نملة. This ta'nith, so this namla is a female, or it could be a male because you cannot قال نمل. Naml is a plural. So what is the masculine word of namla? Right? It's always namla. Right? Whether male or female, there's no masculine version of namla, right? قالت, and this ta, is it ta ta'nis or ta? So what's the big deal? And sometimes people, sometimes they find this enjoyable. Talk about stories about the people of the cave and what happened to them, and something that coming from Israeliyat, and so wasting your time and energy in asking about these questions upon which no amal will come. Always ask good questions. Imam Ibn Abbas anhu said, "As-su'al nisf al-ilm." Half the knowledge is to ask good questions. Sometimes people ask the wrong question. Again, hypothetical things. No amal will come as a result of it. Or asking for just the sake of asking. Or asking for shopping for fatwa shopping, as you all know. Or asking to show off that I'm smart, I know how to ask good questions. Or to ask with the intention of embarrassing the speaker. Quran made it very clear. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تسألوا عن أشياء إن تبد لكم تسؤكم. Don't ask about things that if you know the answer, then it will harm you. One day, people came and asked the Prophet ﷺ some of these silly questions. After this ayat, and he prohibited them from asking. So don't ask about something that is not clarified. Because Allah does not forget. If it's something important in your life, Allah will say something and the Prophet would say something about it. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala don't say anything about it, don't ask. In the hadith, الحلال ما أحله الله والحرام ما حرم الله وما سكت عنه فهو عفو. You know, what's haram is what Allah says is haram. And what's halal is what Allah. So, and there are plenty of things that Allah did not mention. Don't ask about it. Because Allah did not forget about it. Allah did not forget it. That's afu. The Prophet ﷺ said this is afu. Afu means it's allowance. If Allah did not make it haram, don't keep asking about it. Right? And the worst of people who are going or who are asking questions that would result that what they ask about it becomes haram because of their question. It becomes haram because of their question. Right? And someone told me that this real story happened, that it was in the army in Egypt. You know. When someone, the leader wanted to punish them, told them just go around this camp, run around this camp. He said, how many times? Okay, 10 times. If he did not ask, just one time would be enough, right? Same thing when the Prophet ﷺ said that أيها الناس إن الله كتب عليكم الحج فحجوا. Allah made Hajj obligatory upon you, so make Hajj. Ya Rasulullah, is every year. You think you are super smart and the Prophet forgot about this? He said, Hajj. Allah, so one time would be enough. If there's nothing specific in Sharia, when you have an order, do something. That the length of your beard, for example, that's a good example. How long the beard should be. And the Prophet ﷺ said, أعفوا اللحى. So, you don't say how long it should be. Yeah, some would say, okay, I want to do it the way the Prophet ﷺ did it. Fine. But if you do it in any way, the length itself is not important. What's important is to do it. If, like I ask you, okay, please, there's a beggar outside. Give him something. If I don't tell you how much you should give him, then if you give him $5, 10 or 20, you have fulfilled the command. You understand? So when the order comes without any specific amount or number, then doing anything will be sufficient. Asking about how long, how much, you know, Sharia did not forget about it. When it comes to zakah, it's 2.5% or 10% agriculture. The percentage is very specific. But sadaqah, it's open. It depends on your will, how much you want to give. Right? So one day people kept asking the Prophet ﷺ and the Prophet ﷺ got angry. And he wanted to show them practically how this could be very harmful. Yeah, we have Rasulullah, he knows everything. Allah revealed to him everything. And they kept asking him, and asking, he did not like it. So he ﷺ went to the member. And he said, Saluni la tas'aluni an shay'in illa anbatuhu. Ask me any question you want. Any question you want, I will give you the answer. Someone stood up and said, who is my father? He said, your father is Hudhafa. You know, of course, Allah revealed to him. Another two people said, who is our father? He said, our father is the one that you have his name. Because they questioned their mother's behavior. They didn't know. They didn't know 100%. They don't have a DNA test. People ask these stupid questions. So, it's better not to know. Right? If you ask the Prophet, who is my father? And then he told you about someone else. Then the first thing this man would do is going to kill his mother. And he'll be ashamed. It's better just don't ask these questions. The answer could be very harmful. It's good. Ignorance sometimes. Ignorance is good. Don't ask until it's made clear to you. in the hadith, إن الله نهى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عن القيل والقال وإضاعة المال وكثرة السؤال. The Prophet ﷺ prohibited us in the hadith about qeel, qal, he said, and she said, they said. Don't keep reporting what people say. وإضاعة المال, wasting your money. وكثرة السؤال, asking so many questions unnecessarily. Right? And he finally mentioned the story of Musa alayhi salam and Khadir, the very famous story, when he told him, don't ask me until I explain it to you. You know the story. And when he broke the boat, and then he killed that child, and then he rebuilt the house. And every time Musa said, wow, what did you do? Did I tell you? Don't ask until I make it clear to you. All what it takes is just to be patient. The guy told him, I will tell you later on. Don't ask. Be patient and wait. Right? And in the hadith, Rasulullah said, may Allah have mercy on my brother Musa. If he was patient, then we would have seen so many other strange things. We saw only 3 cases, right? If Musa was just a little patient, we could have seen like maybe 10, 15 other strange things, but only 3, right? And it happens so many times that, when the speaker, had a lecture or presentation and someone asks a question that just, if he was patient, that it would have come. Have you seen this? It's coming, okay, just cool down. قال هذا فراق بيني وبينك سأنبئك بتأويله ما لم تستطع عليه صبرا. Asking the good question is good. Asking the wrong question, the wrong time, the wrong place is wrong. And I told you before about people always ask about halal, dhabiha food and things. So, how long have you been here? I've been in America 25 years. So you still don't know the answer? Or you ask everybody you see. These things you should have known long ago. Once you came to the United States, and then maybe first few months or year, and khalas, and move on. You cannot live, you need to graduate from the kindergarten. All right, I'll stop here, inshallah. And if you have any comment or question. Yes?
Namima and Qawl-e-Zur are same thing, or they are different?
Excuse me?
Namima and Qawl-e-Zur.
Qawl-e-Zur. Qawl-e-Zur is, the word zur, zawwara, it's interesting. Zawwara means to beautify something, make it look good. So that could be, in saying right or the truth, right? But most of the time it is used in a negative way. Zawwara or zur means that people make their argument very good, although they're lying. In the hadith, Bukhari, Rasulullah ﷺ said that you come to me as an arbitrator, and some of you may articulate his argument better than his brother. So as a result of this, I will give him something that's not his. And he knows that, but he's so eloquent. So Rasulullah ﷺ said, if I give you something that's not yours, then I'm giving you a piece of fire. Take it or leave it. Hadith Umar had the Saqifa. You remember when the Prophet ﷺ passed away and the Ansar was in the Saqifa? So Abu Bakr and Umar, when they heard about this meeting, they went. And Umar said, فَزَوَّرْتُ a speech. So I prepared a speech that he made in his mind a speech, what he was going to say. But when I stood up to speak, Abu Bakr asked me to sit down, and he spoke, and it was much more accurate and beautiful than the speech that I want to give. Okay, zur means saying something that's not true. And Often it's used also with the shahada to zur. Someone comes as a witness in the court, and he gives the false testimony. Yeah, I saw him doing this. I heard him saying that. He did not hear anything. That's zur. So lying is also zur. Anything that's not. But namima, I don't think it's necessarily part of the zur, because you may go and say the same thing. You know, someone said something bad about the person. You go to that person, so you know what? Yesterday this man said so and so. So you are not lying, right? But at the same time, you are creating hatred among people. That's why namima is bad.
I think this is mentioned in Surah Al-Furqan, وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَشْهَدُونَ الزُّورَ.
لا يشهدون الزور. نعم. وإذا مروا باللغو مروا كراما. نعم. The word tazwir in Arabic means fraud. When someone signed or imitated the signature of someone else, that's called tazwir. To fake something, right? Tazwir, right? Zawwara, tazwir.
That's why Azab and Naim, also I think he made create a story. When he went to Quraysh, he said something about Banu Qurayza. And when he went
Yes.
to, so is it also the Mimas? Or
No. This is the one of the three exceptions that we talked about at the time of war. Lying to the enemies is okay. So this is what was it. He created a story that's not true, and he made the enemies camp broken. They lost trust in each other, so that's why they left, and this ended the war. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر ان الانسان لفي خسر الا الذين امنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. سبحان ربك رب العزه عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.